Shannon? Good morning, everyone. I
was going to wait till everybody sat down with their food, so then they would have everybody's attention. He's already started.
Good morning. I wanted to let everyone know today is such a great celebratory day. It's been 25 years since we've been in this building, and Pastor Grove and Nancy have both sent messages for us to share with you. So as you gather your food and sit, please listen to the messages from them. Nancy was like a mother to all of us, but she was a dear, dear mother to me, and still is. Thank you, Nancy. So she's sharing a little history of Living God Church. In 1991, the Lutheran Church wanted to create a space for a new church in western Chester County. Claire Burkett asked Dick to leave the city and develop this new space. Holy cow, Lutheran Church seemed to be the appropriate name for a church in this space in 1991. But instead, Living God Lutheran Church was chosen in hopes that the new church would be a vibrant spirit that would make a difference in the community. So Living God began in space in the Honeybrook Post Office, Box 297, on September 1st, 1991. Mass mailings, home visits, phone calls. Bob, can you turn it down just a little? Newspaper articles, all were means of making people aware of this new space. Heatherwood served as the first space for gathering. First interest meeting in October 1991 with 15 attendees, as well as Sunday evening worship and weekly Bible study. First weddings were in borrowed space. Shelby and Randy Von Till at Honeybrook Presbyterian Church, and Lynn and Bob Williams in Waynebrook Gardens. When the Groves moved to Honeybrook, our home was space for council, committee meetings, and confirmation classes. Sunday worship space was expanded by moving into the old Honeybrook Elementary building where our charter was signed, which is framed back there. Followed by a move to the gymnasium to the new Honeybrook Elementary School, both of which entailed moving and setting up worship every morning, nursery, coffee hour supplies, every Sunday, set up, take down, set up, take down. Paul Luxey assumed the role of chief setup man every week for 9 years. In February 1995, Living God bought space, the 26.5-acre plot of 3200 Horseshoe Pike, to help pay for our space. The first fall festival was held on October 7th, 1996, with Liz Risbin organizing the growing congregation for a Memorial Day in the sunshine in our space, as she's done for 30 years. Thank you again today, Liz. Thank you, Liz. We formed a church choir practicing weekly using space in Sue and Carl Fessenbecker's living room. Deanna Arndt formed a cross-stitching group in space in her home to create Christmas for our Christmas tree and a nativity set with Pastor Grove's Black Sheep. We celebrated ground dedication in July 1998 with a joyful worship service on the undisturbed space. We celebrated groundbreaking and hammer-raising day in May 2000, when we all dug a shovelful of mud on that rainy day, thankful to the start of building in our new space. The hammered sculpture hangs over the entrance. We celebrated Stud Signing Day with private messages written in the space underneath the final painted walls you see now. So that if you look in the back underneath the clock, that's what she's referring, Stud Signing Day. As our building became a reality, Grace Lutheran in Malvern was closing. We inherited their church furnishings, but needed space to store them. Ernie Matson skillfully steered and placed a storage shed among the trees. The table in the Malvern church was a huge granite slab weighing over half a ton. Ashley Boyce and her powerlifting friends lifted and transported that granite slab to space in our garage. The stone is now embedded in the space under the table with an etching of the loaves and fishes that you'll see under the space under the altar. Instead of the recommended small catering kitchen, Liz Risbin's recommended kitchen was created, and this space has produced tons of food with love and laughter for 25 years, with the signature staple being Gina Meyer's chicken corn soup. So many wonderful memories in this beautiful, sunny space. I want to close by sharing the reaction of our ELCA church architecture, Peter Nordgren, who visited our church on a rainy day after it was finished. Nancy met with him at the door. He stood motionless and studied the space before his eyes. He proceeded to the third row from the front, sitting down on the first seat to his right. After a long silence, he asked me to join him. With tears in his eyes, he expressed gratitude to the people of Living God for creating such a beautiful worship space. Thank you, Living God Church. May you grow and prosper for many years in the future. Nancy Grove.
Thanks, Mom. So I get to read a letter that was sent by Pastor Grove, Nancy's husband and our very first pastor at Living God Lutheran Church, who was kind of like a grandfather to me. Guess what? Our first dreams about a new church building were bigger than our pocketbooks. Ask then Council President Jay Arndt if interested. One of the things not included was a steeple and a bell. As excitement about a new Lutheran church spread across the synod, asked the dean, Pastor Carlson, if interested. Offers of free stuff poured in, including the offer of a 400-pound bell from Trinity Havertown. Problem: how do you move a 400-pound bell? How do you build a bell tower and add that weight to the roof? And how do you get the bell into the tower? To move the bell, my neighbor Frank Hess, whose hobby was building street rods, offered his engine hoist, and we had ourselves a free bell. Next, it just so happened that Earl Kester, leader of our mission builders team, happened to be an engineer who was able to design our bell tower and account for the new added weight on the roof. Ask George Risbin about mission builders and the wood for the organ. Joyce and Boyd Bruce paid to have the bell restored. Keith Webb, my husband, welded the steel support structure and crafted the stainless steel cross. John Ward provided the crane to lift not only the bell, but all the roof trusses, including the one from which Dan Dirkseide fell. Yes, he lived, and can tell you the story. In the end, Earl Kester dedicated the tower design in honor of his mother, Stella Kester. Joe and Eileen, Keith and Shannon Webb dedicated the stainless steel cross in memory of Ronald Webb. Getting the rope through the roof without leaking was the last problem to be solved. That and who knew how to ring a church bell. Because it would have been too expensive to send Barry Buzzard to England for a year to learn how to ring the bell, and because his seat was right there next to the rope, he volunteered to give it a pull and hasn't stopped for 25 years until recently, and now Lynn does it for us. He also has a tender story to tell about the beautiful stained glass Luther rose window over the entrance given in memory of his wife, Holly Buzzard. Thanks for the memories, Pastor Grove. And if anybody else has any memories that they'd like to share, we welcome you to come up to the microphone.
Shannon, Catherine has a few words.
Yes, that'd be great.
I would like to tell you all about my experience here. When I first started at Living God Church. Okay. When I first started at Living God Church, it was at the school on Walnut Street. I actually came on a Sunday that they were promising homemade ice cream. I don't know whether it was homemade or not. They laughed about it. But anyway, when I was at the door, my husband and I came in July of 1996. And Nancy hugged me at the door, and she treated us like royalty and had us sign the guest book. And we signed the guest book, and we stayed for church that day, and Pastor Grove's sermon was 15 minutes long. We had come from a church where the sermons lasted anywhere from 35 to 45 minutes. And believe me, I put my hand on my husband's hand when we were sitting there, and I said, "This is it." And so when this church opened, I was not supposed to be the original greeter. That was supposed to be Fran Atkins, who now is very prominent at Telhai. But anyway, I took her place and greeted and hugged people for 14 years until my knee gave out. But anyway, I just remember wanting to welcome everybody here to the church, whether you came every week or whether you just came for the first time. I wanted you to be very welcome here, and that's my history from the church. And my husband and I were here for every stick that went up on this original cement pad. And we put scripture in the wall up there and back there. And so we have a living will in the church. But anyway, I just love you all, and I want you to know that. So,
I would like to share a great thanks to the building committee members that were here back then. Chairperson was Harold Atkins. Vice Chair was Sally Hagley. Secretary, Mary Petrovsky. Plans and Construction Chairperson, George Risbin. Program and Furnishing Chairperson, Nancy Grove. And Finance Chairperson, Jay Arndt. And our first council president was Jay Arndt. Michael Green was our vice president. Joanne Mulvey was our secretary. Dale Boyce, a treasurer. Paul Alexi, Amy Gursky, Sally Hagley, Dorothy McFarland, Reuben Zook, and Dick Grove as our pastor. I'd like to honor all of those people, and I'm glad that they built this church, that we weren't locked out of a Christmas Eve service in the rain, which we were when we were at the New Elementary School 1 year.
Hi, wow, I talk loud. David and I came to this church more than 15 years ago. His parents came here, Bob and Marianne Hausch, and we were greeted by Catherine, and just we stayed because of the family and connection that you all make, and it started back then. Everyone smiles and is happy, and Kay and Ed and just everybody, and it felt so warm, and we didn't get that anywhere else. It was kind of, when we went to other churches, we just felt like we were by ourselves, and people would say hi and then walk away, and that was it. But we were invited to join conversations and to participate, and asked personally to help with activities, and we helped. David and I helped with the trail, and yeah, and it was a great time, and there's lots of wonderful memories here, and I hope there's many, many, many more to come.
Would anyone else like to add any thoughts? No? Would you like to talk?
You want to say something?
Say thank you.
Say amen.
Say thank you, Nancy.
Thank you, Nancy and Pastor. We greatly appreciate the building that you've given us. So now, 25 years later, we have a new pastor.